All right, guys, what's going on? Another episode of Random the Real Estate. And so listen, if you're young and you're interested in purchasing your first home or investment home or whatever the case may be, or you just want to get your foot wet in the real estate industry, this is the platform to check it out, all right, and to get that information. So we've got Elisha with us, who is much younger than us, but he's got a lot of questions that I believe a lot of you all have as well. So we don't know what the question is. We're going to let Elisha ask it. Rett will answer it. And hopefully you guys get a tip out of it.
Perfect.
E, what's your question for today?
My question for today is, I see a lot of what could possibly be fixer-uppers. My
Okay.
question is, how should I pursue that, and if it would be a good, route to pursue?
All right, so, and I'm going to ask a question. You don't own a home right now, correct? Okay, you're over 18, so you're old enough to buy a home. So that's good. Check mark a couple of things. So, all right, so this is a common question we get a lot. Let's just say someone gets approved for a $75,000 or $100,000, loan. When they got approved, but they found a house for 50 or 60. Wow, this seems like a good deal. I could buy that, but it's a fixer-upper, needs a lot of work. But I'm willing to do the work myself, and I think that it will be a good investment. And the answer is that that's not going to be a very solid investment in most cases for someone that's just getting started in the, I think our fan turned on.
Yeah, my bad.
In the, are you good? In the real estate game of trying to build wealth. So a couple reasons why. If it's really truly a fixer upper, materials cost a lot of money. Labor costs a lot of money. And being able to acquire that money is not really the thing that most of the time people have access to. Now, if you had a bunch of savings, it may be different. But if you're just starting out, you got your first kind of real job, you're making some money, there are loans out there to provide a lot of opportunity of owning your first home. But it needs to be pretty much move-in ready. And what that means is you don't need to have a roof that's leaking.
Right.
You need to have a way to cook. It needs to have some floor covering down. It may be shag carpet, and it may be ugly linoleum in the kitchen.
Shag carpet.
But if you find a house that's modestly priced, that's in a price point that makes sense, that you can afford, but it's checking off all these things, it may be worth looking at if it's more of an ugly house, more so than it is just a true fixer-upper. Now, some people have different burdens of what they can live with and not, and that's fine. Everyone's got personal preference. But houses that are a little bit ugly or a little bit dated or that fully function are really good opportunities because you can buy them. Maybe other people pass on it because they wanted something more modern. You can get into that easily and be able to get the loan on it is really important. But when you hear fixer-upper, I need to tell people a good rule of thumb is consider fixer-upper meaning 20% down minimum and having all the cash out of pocket to fix it. Does that sound as good of a deal now? Because if you have the cash, it's great. But if you don't, then I think I asked you that question the wrong way. But it doesn't sound as good of a deal if you know you got to come out of the pocket with so much money. If it's $60,000 home, I remember the example I made a little bit ago. But you're approved for $100. Okay, whatever. Let's say you found the $100 house that was dated. Maybe that works. But if it's $60, the house had to have the roof and it had to have all other stuff.
Like $30,000 worth of work,
or it could be more like 50,
or even more, 50.
Yeah,
now you're almost at zero.
You can go negative really
quick.
And the other thing is you got to have all that money out of pocket to do it. Right. And not, in addition to having to put down a much higher down payment versus the house at 100, you might could get for 3.5% down, even though it was a little bit dated. So if you got limited money to work with, you're much better off. But one of the first things to really do is start saving. You got to have a little bit of savings, but more importantly, even if you don't have credit, pay your bills on time, the ones you do have. Having something really small here or there is crucially important. But you can get buy a home with not a lot of credit, but you can't buy it with bad credit. So there's ways of doing that, especially if you're younger, getting started out. Get with a qualified mortgage person, get with a good agent, and you'll be on your way towards building wealth. It's about building wealth as much as it is trying to be an investor. But you got to invest in yourself first. You got to make sure you got everything there. And one of the main necessities that we have is shelter, right? And you can provide your own shelter and be paying for it and owning it versus paying it in rent or whatever that is. So that's the kind of my thoughts on it. So the fixer-upper, you got to really kind of know what that means and look at it. But if it's got more than one or two major things that's got to be replaced, you're not going to get the loan on it. And even still, if it's got a lot of things, you may not get a loan period, even for an investor. So most of those kind of deals are cash deals.
Yeah.
And those are the best opportunities sometimes to buy as investment property, but not someone starting out that doesn't A, have the cash to pay for it, B, have the money to fix it up, and then be able to handle the holding time of being able to get ready to, it's time to sell it. Mm-hmm. And all the while, you got to have somewhere to live too. So you got to really think about all these things, because it just all goes into the whole thing. So hopefully that makes sense.
So am I hearing that you're saying that it's better to invest in yourself first, but if you do decide to get into investment properties first, it's better to have good cash, a good amount of cash saved up, or to focus on homes that require cosmetic work versus big time work that's going to really go into your cash flow?
Absolutely, that's huge, and we can get into
one
about what remodels actually help you out, which ones actually still cost you money. And that's a big misconception. Just because you replace something doesn't mean that you added that much value to it from the cost.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that in a future episode.
Yeah, that'll be another episode. Well, Elisha, did that help?
Yeah, well, you definitely did help me out today a lot, Ray. I feel like you pointed me in the right direction.
So what are you thinking? Getting your own place, or trying to find something to invest in based off of what you just heard?
I think my own place would probably be the same.
Yeah, I think so too.
7.
All right, guys, listen, if you got any more questions, or you're looking to get some answers to questions that you haven't asked yet, but you've heard asked here, tune in to Random the Real Estate, and hopefully you'll find the answer that you're looking for.
Definitely gonna have an opinion for you one way or the other.
No doubt
I'll try
about
my
it.
best to shoot you straight.
Yep, and we're gonna keep these videos just like this. All right, we're not gonna make a full-fledged production scenario. We want to put it like this, randomly just asking these questions and then putting people on the spot to answer them. What do you think?
Love it.
You cool?
I'm cool with it.
You good with that too?
I can take the shots fired. I'll answer the best I can.
There it is, guys. Hey, look, remember, #RandomTheRealEstate. Peace.